I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of
Friday,
those
happy days. The weekend comes, let's not go home.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scum bucket.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of
Monday,
those.
happy days.
It's just one of
Tuesday,
those.
happy days.
It's just one of those
Happy days.
days.
The weekend comes, let's not go home. Ready to make stand.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with the bloodstain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And if you're stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all
Monday,
about,
happy days.
it's just one of
Tuesday,
those,
happy days.
it's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, let's not go home. Ready to make stand. These days,
I feel like shit. My suggestion is to keep your distance. 'Cause right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
My day keeps going this way and this way.
I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games.
Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I pack a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here,
Not Robert.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome to episode 228 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. How's everyone doing this fine Monday evening? I know there wasn't a show on Thursday or Friday. I just decided during the weekend, I'm just going to do a stream once a week. So I'm just going to do it every Monday from now on, if you guys don't mind. There might be times where if I want to do a stream on a Thursday or Friday, I'll let you guys know either the day before when the stream actually does go up, if it does happen with that. But I've decided that I will continue streaming every Monday at 6 p.m. UK time, of course. And if there ever were to be a case of doing another stream during the week, again, be it Thursday or Friday, then yeah, we'll do that when it comes to that. And again, I'll let you guys know the day before when that show does go live. So let's have a quick look and see who's in the chat just now. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to remove that from the studio because I don't need to put up the intro anymore. So all my social media links and all of that, put up there first. Right, let's have a gander and see who's here. Stephen West, Budgie Burger, Chaz Smash, Ugly Truth is with us. Tight Scotsman and Aunt Sally. Aunt Sally writes in the chat, "Evening, folks. I can't stay long as I am just about to go out. That's fine and dandy, but thank you very much for popping in to say hello to myself and, of course, to everyone in the chat within Mood of the Nation. So thank you very much for that." So, yeah, let's get right to it. Now, I do have a couple things to talk about, of course, in terms of one topic. And before I actually get into that, there's also something I wanted to talk about. This happened last night, actually, and it was not anything major, but I thought I might do somewhat of a good, somewhat story time, if you will, for the show. But we'll get right to that just now. Got my juice with me just in case if I need it for a drink. So there's about 8 people watching, which is not too bad. So, but also thank you to everyone who has shared the stream, that be it Mark Gollett, Joe Marsh, and of course a few other people. Again, for those who have shared the stream, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate that. And yeah, let's get right to it, shall we? And also, of course, the link for my donation page, be it PayPal, is just up there. If you want to send in a penny or two, you can do so if you really want to. If you want to support me and support the show, you can do so if you so choose to. Again, don't feel obligated if you have to do it. It's there as an option, basically. So if you do send a donation, that's great. If not, again, no worries whatsoever with that. The option is there, basically. So, was there another thing to mention before we get into the show? Because I did mention that I was going to do this. Yeah, that covered that. Cover PayPal donations. Covered that. Yeah, we'll just get right into the story, shall we? So, oh yeah, sorry. The stream itself will be about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So what we'll do is we'll cover the story time thing, and then the topic at question, and then once we've done that, we'll then move right into the Q&A section. Thank you, Chaz Smash, for the comment. It's just a blue shirt, but thank you anyway. So with that, right. So story time with Chief Moody. Let's get right into it. So, and again, this story is not much of an eventful type of story, but let's just say I've been using Tinder, the dating app, which I mean, it's not exactly the best, but and I haven't used it a lot. It's just really in passing. I would maybe use it occasionally. So I would manage to get some likes from people, which is actually not too bad when it comes to that. So, but yeah, that's I've been using it for about maybe. Well, it's not the first time I've used it. I've used it for maybe here and there in the past, but I thought, well, let's see what it's like, and then have another go at it, kind of a thing. 1 second, one Peter Pope. I popped in the comment of Mood of the Nation. We seem to be pissed to want change if you're talking England. Fair enough. So yeah. So when it comes to that, thank you very much for coming into the to the stream or to the chat. So I used Tinder for a little bit, and I managed to get. Well, actually, before that, so you know what Tinder is? It's one of those dating apps where you have like profile pictures and all of that. There's a couple of images I put up there that are based on certain protests I went to. So the one in Erskine and the one in Hull, or was it Hull or Leeds? It was the Free Sam Millia demonstration I attended with the whole of Patriotic Alternative. Sorry, excuse me. So I put those images as part of the profile pictures, because with Tinder, there's like multiple photographs you can see from other people if you just like swipe or tap on the image, and then more images come up. So I did that. So I managed to get a like from someone, and we started chatting a little bit. I did the first move. I said, hey. They were like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And a little bit a while later, I responded back with like, oh, I'm doing great, thank you very much. How are you doing? That sort of thing. It's very basic stuff. So then I stopped, and then I think maybe a bit later on after that, I went back on to Tinder again just to see if I maybe get a response message from this woman or not. And what I noticed was that the woman in question decided to delete the conversation. My guess was that it has something to do with the profile picture. So I would imagine it would be the one that I use for YouTube currently. You probably might see the image, I think, as my what are they called? Like a like a YouTube avatar type of thing. Like, it's the one where I'm holding up the sign that's Free Sam Millia sign, and underneath it says Patriotic Alternative, and of course me, I just go and that sign. I would imagine she saw the image. It was like Patriotic Alternative Nazi. So that was pretty much the end of that, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I thought at that point, I was like, you know what? I hardly ever really use Tinder. I don't really speak to the people on it. So I thought, well, you know what? I might as well just like not bother using it anymore. So yeah, that's that. So I am still technically looking for. I mean, it's not like a major. It's not like a major thing in my life currently. There's other things that are going on just now, but for me, from my perspective, I'm at a point in my life where, if I have to, be honest for a moment here, I'm at a point in my life where I'm 31 years old. I really want to settle down and raise a family and all of that. But the problem is that I'm very, what's the word? I'm very, somewhat picky in terms of like the type of woman I want. I mean, I'll be honest and come out and say that I do want someone like a housewife type of thing. So I'm quite old school in the sense of I believe the idea that the man should be the. I might have even spoke about this on the show before, but I believe the idea that the man should be the breadwinner and the woman should be the stay-at-home wife and mother type of thing. If she does work, that's completely fine because obviously in today's times, it's really difficult for everybody in terms of financially at the moment, but it's actually a lot more difficult for people to start families because of the current situation. But if that's possible, then I would much prefer that. But if it comes to the point where people do, need to work, then again, that's completely fine, and I can understand that. But I'm quite traditional in the sense that I believe the man should be the breadwinner, and of course the woman should be the housewife and mother type of thing. Not to say that she should be the only caregiver for the children. Of course, obviously, both the mother and the father should be in the children's lives if possible. So that's why I strongly believe in that fact. And as I said, I'm at a point where, of course, I'm 31 years old. I'm not sure if it'll come a point where I might go through some kind of midlife crisis, but I do hope, and again, at the moment, it's not like a major thing in my life currently, but I do hope at some point I do meet someone who would make a good wife and mother when it comes to that. So, which I know in today's times, it's a very tricky situation because again, financial reasons, and of course, a lot of it is really to do with societal issues at the moment. Of course, we're seeing a lot of women being, well, not just promoted, but they're encouraged to do a lot of degenerate stuff. So when it comes to that, and yeah, so one Peter Pope, thank you very much. There is only now, tomorrow never comes, and yesterday is a past memory. Up and now we in time. Yeah, fair enough. I agree. So thank you very much. So yeah, it's sorry. As I was back to what I was saying with that. So of course, there's a lot of women who are being encouraged to do a lot of degenerate stuff with like OnlyFans and whatnot. I'm sure. Again, this is something I spoke about on the show before about Lily Phillips, and I think there's another one recently, Bonnie Blue, I think her name is. Really doing a lot of really depraved stuff, and yeah, it's hard because there's a lot of women, who are doing that type of stuff now have to feel the need to go the extra mile. Like, oh, how is it I'm going to get attention by, doing this or that? Trying to do like kind of more outlandish type of stuff, and it's degrading. I mean, the fact that people genuinely believe that this is empowering to women, I will never understand that. I really don't. I mean, that whole thing, and again, we've talked about on the show with Lily Phillips. I think it was the whole she slept with 100 men in a certain time frame or something like that. I'm not entirely too sure, but you do see the aftermath of her going through that, and you could definitely tell that not only she seemed traumatized, but she was coping the entire time. Oh, well, actually, blah blah blah. It's like, no, mate, like clearly. You knew what you were doing was degenerate, disgusting, and wrong. You just don't want to admit it. And it's depraved. It really is absolutely depraved. And I do admire women in today's society who are morally strong and all of that. So, sex is 5 minutes lost. Love is the answer. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, love is definitely the answer. So I do admire women. And again, I'm sure there may be like a small minority of them, but I do admire the women who are very morally strong and don't, say, cuck to that type of behavior. So it's just a case of like finding them. So that seems to be the bit of a difficulty. But yeah, saying that, I do hope, again, it sounds like I'm repeating myself here, and I do apologize, but I do hope one day that I do meet the right one, and then hopefully it will blossom into something else, and then hopefully we'll settle down and, of course, start a family. Hopefully, anyway. And I know there's people within the Nashua scene, especially in PA, who have met through not just PA, but through nationalism and actually got together. And those people I'm very happy for. So, and hopefully their lives continue the way they are when moving forward. So, yeah, when it comes to that. So, that's a very short story, but a story nonetheless when it comes to what happened on Tinder. I don't think I'll be using Tinder again for a long time, to be honest. I remember, not recently, but I remember I think a few years back, I went back on it again, and I saw there was a lot of advertisements for, say, like mixed race relationships type of thing, you know, with white women with a black guy, you know, that sort of thing. And yeah, I was like, oh, sweet Jesus. That must have been back in what, 2020, maybe 2021 or something like that. But it was. Of course, they don't exactly do that now, which is quite surprising. I don't know whether or not if maybe they got complaints or whatever, but you know, so. Anyways, so let's move on from there, and then we'll cover this main topic of the show, and then once we've done that, then we'll move on to the Q&A section. So we're going to talk about something that's been going around in the news as of late within the Nashua sphere, and that's to do with the TV show that's been, I was going to say airing, but it's not on the regular television, I believe. I think it's streaming on Netflix. Now, Netflix, of course, needs no introduction. It's a streaming platform that has a lot of shows and films you can watch on there. It's also showcased the film Cuties, and again, the less said about that degenerate stuff, the better. But this show was streamed on Netflix, and I think it was produced by like multiple companies and all of that. Even just mentioned this just now, I'm pretty sure some of you might know what I'm referring to, and that show is a show called Adolescence. Now, let me see if I can actually share the screen, because I do have the Wikipedia page to go over that show just now, and then we'll see from there. So let me see if I can share the audio just in case. Let's see. Let me just get on to here. 1 second. Right. Perfect. All right. So now this is a fairly recent show that actually came out this month. So let's have a look here and see. So Adolescence is a 2025 British crime drama to television miniseries created by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham, and also directed by Philip Barantini, I think I pronounced his name. So Stephen Graham, you might know who that is. Stephen Graham is, of course, an English actor. He has been in a lot of productions. He's actually been in a few recent Martin Scorsese productions. I believe he was in. Well, when I say Martin Scorsese, I think Martin Scorsese produced the show. What was it called? It had Steve Buscemi in it. What was the name of that TV show? I can't remember. Well, basically, he's. I can't remember the name of the show, but I believe he played the role of Al Capone, which I thought that was a bit of an odd choice to play, an odd choice of an actor to play that role, but there we go. So, Dan, that's actually going to annoy me. What was the name of that show? Someone maybe might know in the chat. Boardwalk Empire, that's it. Thank you, Chaz Smash. I was thinking of that name, but anyways, so he was in those type of productions. Saying that, however, he was also in the film This Is England, where he plays a skinhead. Now, if memory serves me, I believe Mark, Laura, Navis Concern, and St. Harrison covered the film in its entirety on the PA Film Club, and of course, just like these types of productions that deal with the concept of nationalism, or if you want to be more specific, white nationalism or anything like that at all, usually 9 times out of 10, those types of productions are a massive strawman, or a strawman portrayals of nationalists with regards to that. So saying that, Stephen Graham and co. now come out with this type of production. In fact, even just saying that, I think Stephen Graham was in a production where it was supposedly based on a true event of someone, a member from Hope Not Hate, if I'm not mistaken. And that was actually maybe a couple of years back, because I remember that was being talked about as well. But so yeah, he was also in that too. So now, of course, they all come back with this production, which deals with knife crime, but it's not in the way that you would think when it comes to that. So I'll continue on from this paragraphs here, and then we'll move on from there. So it centers on a 13-year-old schoolboy named Jamie Miller. Am I actually still sharing the screen? Oh, I am. Yeah, perfect. That's fine. It centers on a 13-year-old schoolboy named Jamie Miller, played by Owen Cooper, who is arrested for the murder of a female classmate. Each of its 4 episodes was shot in one continuous take. The miniseries premiered on Netflix on the 13th of March, 2025, to critical acclaim for its directing and writing, as well as its atmosphere and performances. So let's have a quick gander at the premise of the show, just to see, of course, what it's actually about. So the premise on the Wikipedia page here writes, in an English town, the police break down the door of a family home and arrest Jamie Miller, a 13-year-old schoolboy, on suspicion of murder of a classmate, Katie Leonard. Jamie is held at a police station for questioning and then remanded in custody at a secure training center. Investigations at Jamie's school and questioning by a forensic psychologist reveal that Jamie has been deeply disturbed by school bullying via social media centered on incel subculture. God almighty. Right. So this show is not specifically based on a particular. It's not. It's one of those shows where it's entirely based on. I've not seen the show whatsoever. I may have seen a couple of images from the show, maybe even seen some clips of the show, but the whole thing with Adolescence is that it's a show that's meant to be based on true events, like stuff that would actually happen. And in this case, it's not just about a murder of a schoolgirl by a schoolboy, but it's mostly based on certain events like knife crime that happens here in the UK. And they decided to use a white boy as the perpetrator of this case, which, if you look at statistics and all that, which I do have here at the ready, you might actually see that this show is somewhat made in fantasy. In terms of, if you actually look at statistics and all the research of who actually commits these types of knife crime attacks, you'll see that this show not only is pure fantasy, but you can also make an argument that this show itself is complete propaganda filth. So we're going to have a quick look at that in a moment, because again, I do have some pages. Well, it's mainly from Telegram, of course, but I do have some statistics that we can have a look into as well. That would be really interesting when it comes to. Actually, hold on one sec before we move over. Have a look at the development of the show itself. So, Adolescence was originally conceived by Stephen Graham as a response. By the way, sorry, just real quick. Stephen Graham recently said something about how, which I want to take this with a pinch of salt because I don't buy it for a goddamn second, all right? But according to Stephen Graham, during his school years and all that, when he was a kid, he himself experienced racism because of his quote-unquote Jamaican heritage, or I think it was Jamaican heritage or something to that kin, which again, take that with a pinch of salt because I don't buy that for a second when it comes to it. And as we've seen before with Stephen Graham, this isn't the first rodeo he did tackling this type of issue, but he has, as I said before, done shows like that one show that was based on a member of Hope Not Hate. He was also, as I mentioned, in the film This Is England, and I think even the follow-up sequel TV shows that were set after the film's events, or I believe and I can't remember which show exactly, but there was one show and one episode where he does come back and he's all reformed and he has, seen the light, quote unquote. He completely regrets his decisions and all the actions and beliefs that he had and all of that. Which again, the whole thing with Stephen Graham's character and This Is England, again, it's just another straw man argument. You can see that some of the talking points he was presenting, some of it were actual fact, and some things what nationalists would actually say, but it's the portrayal and how they went about it was completely wrong and portrayed a straw man argument type of thing. If I remember correctly in the film, his character talks about there's like mass unemployment and there's more migration coming into the country. Now keep this in mind. This Is England is a film that takes place during the 1980s. So this was when, of course, Margaret Thatcher was in power with the Conservatives. And of course, there's a whole thing with that in this case. But so there's some talking points he made that were, again, stuff that people like nationalists would say today. But again, it's the way they're going about it, like I'm going to do this and that. It's like, well, we don't condone stuff with that type of thing. I wonder if maybe if there's I want to see if I can actually play a clip of that particular scene, but I don't know if I might get hit with like copyright infringement type of thing. Yeah, this is just anti-white propaganda, the show with adolescents. I want to see if I can maybe play the clip again, just for context type of thing of what I'm talking about, because I don't know if I'm actually coming across in the best way possible. I know people are going to mention who have seen the film This Is England, and if it may spoil a little bit, there is that scene towards the end where he does beat up I believe he's like half white, half black dude. I can't remember the character's name, but there's that infamous scene where he beats him to a bloody pulp. Now again, stuff like that, of course, we nationalists don't condone anything like that at all. That's very barbaric, and of course we don't condone anything like that. If anything, we condemn stuff like that, because that's not what nationalists do. That's not what nationalists strive for in terms of violence towards a group of people, sort of thing. Let me see if I can actually find this is. It's also that same scene where Combo's speech, right? So it's about 1 minute and 40 seconds. We might as well just play it again, just for like context type of thing. Some of you might have seen the film already, but some of you haven't. But actually, I don't know. Wait a minute. I'm not too sure if maybe if it'd be a good, again, not just to do with like copyright, but I think it's also to do with like the words and phrases. I know it's like the context of the film itself and what it's supposed to be about, but again, it's that idea of like, oh, well, this is what nationalists say and all that. It's like, well, we don't say anything like that at all. It's a complete straw man argument. So I don't know, folks. Should I maybe play the clip or not? Because part of me does say yes, again, just to provide context of what I'm trying to say. But at the same time, I don't know whether or not if maybe it might be a good idea or not, but I don't know. So I'll let you guys decide in the chat, because I'm kind of going towards yes, again, just for context, but I don't know. So. And the clip itself is only about like just under 2 minutes long anyway. So and I'm not too sure if it's a case of it's showcasing the entirety of the speech that Combo gives. Yeah, Combo is the name of the character that Stephen Graham plays in the film. So don't get into trouble. Yeah, fair enough. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can remove that. Stop screen. Right, 1 second. I'm going to see. So I'm not sharing the screen or anything like that at all. I'm going to play it on my end. Let me know if you guys can hear it or not, because I'll only play it on my end, but I just want to make sure of whether or not if it might be a good idea or not. I doubt it, but let me see a minute. Right. So I'm playing the clip right now. Can you all hear that? Or did you all hear that? Because I was playing the clip there just now. And again, so I should have properly prepared for. Well, then again, I didn't think this would actually get brought up for the show, but right, here's what I'll do. I'll listen to it on my end. I won't play it here again, just for like just to play it safe, if you will, and then we'll go on from there, type of thing. So let me see here. I'll start from the beginning here. 1 second. Right. One second. Right, just 1 second. One second. One second. Right. So yeah, I'm just playing it on my end at the moment because it's not too bad actually. There's one part where I'm like, right, I would maybe try and censor that part, but good evening. Well, thank you. Good evening, Dean Z. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching. Why don't you link the clip and give us the appropriate times to watch it away from stream? You know, I never actually thought of it that way. That's actually a good point. Well, what I'll do then is, yeah, I never actually thought of it that way. So I'll post a link for that video in the stream, and that way you guys can watch it for yourselves. Because I've that's me just going through the clip already. Do you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna actually play the clip on the stream because it's not actually bad. It's not bad, right? Except one part where not only would I would need to censor it, but it's also a case of again, just like a straw man argument, like because no nationalist would actually say that, in my opinion. But let me see if I can actually go ahead and share the screen. So 1 second. Be that clip there. Right, hide that. Right, 1 second here. I should have had a bit more prepared for this, but anyways, right. Let me just full screen that, and then we'll get back to the very beginning. So again, I'm going to play the video now. There will be a part where if it does come up, I know where it will appear, and I'll need to like skip it kind of thing. So we'll see 3, 2, 1.
That's what we need, man. That's what this nation has been built on. Proud men. Proud fucking warriors. 2,000 years, this little tiny fucking island has been raped and pillaged by people who have come here and wanted a piece of it. 2 fucking world wars. Men have laid down their lives for this. For this. And for what? So we can stick our fucking flag in the ground and say, yeah, this is England, and this is England, and this is England. And for what? For what now? Hey, what for? So we can just open the fucking floodgates and let them all come in and say, yeah, come on, come in. Get off your ship. Did you have a safe journey yet? Was it hard, was it? Yeah, here's a corner. Why don't you build a shop? Better still, why don't you build a shop and then build a church? Follow your own fucking religions. Do what you want. When there's single fucking parents out there who can't get a fucking flat and they're being given to these, and I'm going to say,
Yeah, this is where I'll need to move past that.
these fucking
Sorry.
who've got 50 and 60 in a fucking flat on their own, right? We're giving that to them. There's 3.5 million unemployed out there. 3.5 million of us who can't find fucking work because they're taking them all because it's fucking cheap labour, cheap and easy labour. Fucking cheap and easy, which makes us cheap and easy. 3.5 fucking million. It's not a joke. It's not a fucking joke. And that Thatcher sits there in a fucking ivory tower and sends us on a fucking phony war.
So that's that. That's the clip in general when it comes to that. So again, the stuff he does say in that clip, at least the vast majority of it is actually true. And there's actually something, again, this was like the films where it takes place in the 80s. You know, this was going on back then. I mean, we're now in 2025, and a lot of people in the nationalist scene can make an argument that has actually gotten a lot worse since then. Now, in the film, of course, he does do things that somewhat contradict like his stance with that speech, and again, a lot of actions that a lot of nationalists would completely condemn, myself included, because as I mentioned, there's that scene where he beats up the mixed race guy towards the end, and of course, myself and other nationalists would completely condemn something like that. So it's that type of thing where they would come up with these, well, not come up, but they would present actual nationalist talking points, but they're trying to portray it as if like we're thuggish, we're violent, and all this and that. And it's like, well, no, we're not. We're just like normal people that just want to be left alone and just looking out for our own. That's the idea of it. We don't want to cause any violence or anything like that at all. That's the whole point, exactly. So, but anyways, that was that. That was This Is England. Now, so now we get into the Adolescence show, which of course has sparked a lot of, well, controversy to say the least. And it's one of those things. Is that the character's name, Milky? I was thinking it was Milky, but I don't know if that would actually be like the right name, but there we go. So anyways, Adolescence. So it's garnered a lot of attention. It's garnered a lot of critical acclaim, quote unquote, but as is already mentioned in the chat, that it's basically just anti-white propaganda, because now I do have some Telegram posts to showcase here and there, to showcase that, because what the show itself is trying to portray is that the knife crime epidemic, the perpetrators most of the time are in fact young white men, which is not the case whatsoever. I mean, are there like maybe white men that do commit knife crime? Of course. I mean, there was a major problem that happened here in Scotland a few years back. In fact, I remember actually being in high school at the time when it was like rife with stuff like that. Places like Glasgow, for instance. Since then, it's definitely calmed a lot down, but there's still knife crime is still happening all across the UK. But the thing is, it's not young white men that are actually committing the crimes, however. And of course, we do have some statistics to actually prove that otherwise. So let me see if I can actually get up some of the saved images I do have here, and then we'll have a look at them together. So, because I think it's important, and I really wants to showcase that this Adolescence show on Netflix is just complete, utter anti-white propaganda. So, just have a look through X, and I got a new follower. Perfect. Thank you very much. Let me see if I can find my saved images. 1 second. Yeah, there we go. Right. So I got here homicide in England and Wales. We'll cover that in a moment or two. So, but I do have here some screenshots from, again, other people. with it here. So let me see if I can have a look here. Here we go. So we'll start from the top to the bottom. So if I can share the screen real quick here. 1 second. Just right here, just in a moment. Right, perfect. Okay, so let's have a look here. So starting from this one here, again, these are like saved images, of course, from just for the stream. As a psychiatrist, I see the toll of toxic online content on boys. Here are 6 ways you can keep your teenage son safe so your family doesn't become another adolescent story. Dr. Max Pemberton. Oh, actually, there was something, sorry, I almost forgot to mention. That's to do with the development of the show Adolescent. So, conceived by Stephen Graham as a response to a sudden increase in violent knife crime in Britain, including the murders of Elaine Andam and Ava White. He decided to create a drama exploring the motivation of extreme acts of violence against girls but young boys, and collaborated with screenwriter Jack Thorne. Jack Thorne, by the way, is this guy, playwright, television writer, screenwriter, and producer. I know there's a whole saying, never judge a book by its cover, but I mean, the receding hairline, all of that. And apparently the guy is from Bristol, from what I've seen from his Wikipedia page. That explains it. I think part of the playwrights he wrote in the past were, I think it was he wrote or he was part of the team of writers for the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child play that was going on, which again, that also explains everything. But anyways, continue on from there. Speaking on BBC Radio 4's arts programme Front Row, Thorne stated that the 2 writers wanted to look in the eye of modern male rage. Okay, and examine the influence of public figures such as, of course, Andrew Tate on boys. Now, look, I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate myself. I'm not actually a fan of the quote unquote manosphere, if you want to call it that, or the red pill guys, whatever. You know, the same type of guys. Again, I may have talked about this on the show before, but the same type of guys who would go on the internet and trying to encourage young men to be alpha males and dominant and all of that, talking about how women are whores and promiscuous and all of that. But then, of course, it all comes out that they're complete cucks themselves. They act all alpha male and chauvinistic and fuck women, they're whores, blah blah blah. But then, of course, behind the scenes, they're like, oh baby, that they have some relationships with and act all very simpy towards those types of women. So again, you can kind of tell when it comes to the manosphere, again, if that's even the right terminology for that crowd, it's a lot of grifting that happens when it comes to that particular group. But anyway, continuing on from there, the series was announced in March of 2024, so last year, with the working title Adolescence, to be written by Jack Thorne and Stephen Graham. It is a 4-part limited crime drama told in a real time, one-shot style, with Philip Barantini as director. Warp Films, Matriarch Productions, and Plan B Entertainment are producing the series for Netflix. Joe Johnson is series producer, and Graham, Thorne, and Barantini are executive producers alongside Mark Herbert, Emily Filler, Hannah Walters, Jeremy Kleiner. Sounds like a particular name. Dee Gardner and Nina Wolarski. I actually want to have a look at some of these production companies like Warp Films. So who's actually behind these types of productions? And what productions have they actually made in the past? So they work with people like Shane Meadows. Again, Shane Meadows was the director of This Is England and a film called Dead Man's Shoes. Let me see. Yeah, This Is England. Of course, they worked on that. Grow Your Own. I'm trying to see Buddy and the Bull with that as well. Okay. So, all right, here we go. TV drama. So they've done This Is England. Most of it is This Is England, of course. The Virtues, again with Stephen Graham. So, in fact, is that the show in question? Wait a minute. No, I don't think it is. Was it Joseph Life Breaks? No, I think that's a completely different thing. So, filmography, they've done Arctic Monkeys, Submarine, Snowtown, Ghost Stories, Yardie. Right. All right, so let's have a look at Plan B Entertainment. Plan B Entertainment, am I thinking of something, an American production company founded by Brad Pitt, Brad Gray, Kristen Hahn? I mean, I know who Brad Pitt is, but who's... every single time. So that's Brad Gray. Who is Kristen Hahn? So let's have a look at this. Was born in Omaha, Nebraska. Later moved to New Mexico. She relocated in Los Angeles. Blah blah blah. Became a star by the age of 18. With that, right? Han and Jennifer Aniston formed the production company Echo Films. Okay, So what productions was she? Right, The Departed, The Switch. Right. Okay. Right. So who's? Oops, I did not mean to do that. Yeah, founders Jennifer Aniston. Yeah, for Friends fame, of course. So there's that. Key people. Dee Gardner. Let's have a look at her. Let me see. Daughter of Dorothy. Yeah, you know, I'm actually going to look at the early life section, of course, but let's see. Daughter of Dorothy. Her classmates with that. Right. In 2000, she married Jonathan Boris Berg in a. Right, okay. Let me see. Who's the other person? Oh, Jeremy Kleiner. Let's have a look at Jeremy Klein. Yeah, I knew it with that last name. Yeah. Again, every single time. It's almost like there's like a running pattern of behavior here when it comes to that. But anyways, right. If I'm curious, what productions does Jeremy Kleiner was involved in? Because you know that plays a part of it. So the Private Lives of Pippa Lee, Kick-Ass, World War Z, 12 Years a Slave. 12 Years a Slave was part of. The Big Short, Selma. Wait, Selma was, wait a minute. Right, okay, Nightingale. Last Black Man in San Francisco, Beautiful Boy, let's see, Blonde. Father of the Bride. Let's see. Beetlejuice. Apocalypse in the Tropics. Nickel Boys. Mickey 17. I think that's a fairly recent film that came out. But anyways, right. Special Flag. Television. Worked on. Let's see. All right. Well, I think we get the idea when it comes to that. So let's have a see here. All right, of who's actually behind these types of things. Good evening, Black Pigeon Pill. How you doing? Clips and Bits, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. I've seen your channel and seen your clips from time to time, but thank you very much for watching. Ugly Truth at Nose Alert. Clips and Bits. I've heard talk of a dangerous schemes in Scotland or estates, which would be called housing projects in the States. Yeah, I think I might have mentioned that as well. In fact, funnily enough, I was at work today, and I remember there was a news story going on in somewhere that was about Edinburgh. And in Edinburgh, apparently there's some young gangs that are going on, which, I mean, that's actually interesting that now all of a sudden there's like young gangs and how there was like a mysterious fire that went off. And I think there were some apparently quote unquote shots fired. Again, I'm taking the pinch out or taking the what's the saying? Fuck, I even said it earlier on. Take this with a pinch of salt, that type of thing. But yeah, so yeah, exactly. Most of films are propaganda. Yeah, definitely. Selma was a black film. I think I remember seeing. Well, I've not actually seen the film myself, but I think I remember it was heavily promoted during the Oscars. Which, I mean, of course, yeah, I mean, wouldn't be surprised there when it comes to that. So, right. Oh yeah, so let's get back on to where I was before with Telegram. So let me see if I can get this up here just now. So saved images. All right, back onto here. So again, the psychologist like, oh, parents, this is what you have to do to protect your children from for online hate. It's like, shut up. Anyways, let's have a look at this. Right, National Treasure Stephen Graham has revealed the horrific murder of a Croydon schoolgirl inspired his latest Netflix drama, which is wowing audiences and critics. Adolescence, which dropped on the streaming platform yesterday, Thursday, March 13th, follows the story of a 13-year-old boy accused of stabbing a teenage girl to death in Liverpool. And I think this is all to do with like, oh, here's the real life, and then here's the Netflix adaptation, that sort of meme, but there's more here. Knife crime statistics. Let's have a look at this, right? It's not the one I was looking into earlier on, but again, this is quite interesting. So this is from the Ben Kinsella Trust. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, I apologize. Let me just reject that. Knife crime data for England and Wales. So about 4% increase in police recorded offences involving a knife or sharp instrument in the last 12 months up to September 2024. 55,008 police recorded offences involving a knife or sharp instrument up to September 2024. A 94% increase in police recorded offences involving a knife or sharp instrument in the last 10 years up to September of 2024. So this is all fairly recent, by the way. This is not like, oh, this is from 5, 10, maybe 20 years ago. No, this is like fairly recent statistics, apparently. And that's quite shocking, to say the least. 262 murders involving a knife or sharp instrument in England and Wales in the last 12 in the 12 months to March 2024. 57 young people aged under 25 were murdered with a knife or sharp object in the 12 months to March of 2024. 17 were aged 16 and under. Regional knife crime data, 80%. I don't really want to increase to 18% increase in Met Police recorded offences involving a knife or sharp instrument in London in the last year up to September 2024. 7% increase in knife or sharp instrument offences recorded by South West police forces in the last year. 23% increase in knife or sharp instrument offences recorded by Avon and Somerset police forces in the last year. Hospital admissions. Is that, again, you can all see from there with that. See if we can actually highlight the with that. I'll also post the links in the chat. So if you want to have a look at them yourself, maybe even use them for, say, your posts or maybe even for your videos or streams or whatever, then I'll happily post the links in the chat in a moment or two. Let me see if I can actually. One sec. All right, let's see here. Knife crime increased by 80% in the last 10 years. Knife-enabled crime numbers close to those seen before that event during 2020. 240% from 22 to 53. ONS data reveals alarmist surge in young people being murdered. And again, it doesn't actually. I don't think it actually goes into detail on who exactly, like ethnicity and all of that. So, which is actually interesting. So, I wonder if. Right. Okay. Here's what I'll do. So that's that statistic. Let me see if I can actually post that in the stream. If you guys want to have a look at that yourselves as well. It's crazy to hear about this level of crime in Britain. I know clips and bits. It's shocking to say the least when it comes to that. So there's the link for that page I just showed off. If you guys want to use it as well. Birmingham is an absolute slum. Went through there and it resembles Delhi with that. So from Black Pigeon Pilled. Let me see. That's right, Ugly Truth. The scheme was about Kilmarnock. Yeah, I remember that aired. Again, I was in high school when that was airing, and that was a 6-episode miniseries that was showcasing the lives of people in Kilmarnock, which some of them in depraved areas, as some of them, of course, were junkies and all of that. And there was a lot of controversy when that show came out because a lot of people accused it of being. It's the same criticism they gave the Jeremy Kyle show. It was basically like poverty porn. It was just a way to try and exploit the white working class in those types of areas, which, I mean, looking back on it, it definitely was the case, because why would anyone want to live like that? And again, it's definitely not a good idea to plaster those people on national television and try to showcase them, for the sake of entertainment. It's very exploitative by nature or even by design. So let me see if I can get back onto here. Where was I? Oh yeah, right. Let's see if I can actually share the screen again for you guys once again. Let me see here, because there's still more. There's still more. We're almost like an hour into the show. Right, one sec. Where was I? There we go. So that's that page. Let me see. Always the victims, never the perpetrator. Statistically, blacks have a much higher crime rate than whites. If you're involved in criminality on a regular basis, light knife crime, for instance, then the likelihood of you being pulled over by PLOD, again being the police, for it is obviously massively increased. If it's as bad for them here as is being claimed, that maybe they should put a permanent move back to Mother Africa at the top of their priorities list. Now, here is another article we can have a look into. This is by the Argus. Sussex police stopped 9 times as many black people than white. This article was from the 3rd of October of 2023. So again, another fairly recent article that came out. Let's have a look at this real quick. Again, I won't read off the full article, but I'll post the link in the chat so you guys can have a look at it yourselves. Black people in Sussex are 9 times more likely to be stopped and searched by police than white people. Human rights organizations Liberty said stop and searches only worsen division in communities and called on the government to invest in solutions to tackle the root cause of crime. Sussex police carried out 544 stop and searches on black people in the year to March, equivalent to 25.4%, 25.4 per 1,000 black people in the area based on recent census estimates. This compares to a rate of 2.8 per 1,000 white people in Sussex, meaning black people were 9 times as likely to be stopped and searched by police. Now, you may think, well, why would that be the case? Well, again, we've seen from time and time again that a lot of these young people who are engaged in these types of activities tend to be black or Asian or whatever. And notice how if it ever gets reported on the news, the journalists or whatever, never actually address the ethnicity of the perpetrators. But if it's a white person committing the crimes, then they'll always say that, oh, this white young man, did this, that type of thing. But you'll never hear when it comes to it being like a non-white, they always say, oh, young person involved in this crime, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Akiko Hart, interim director at Liberty, said, we all deserve to go about our lives without fear of being harassed or targeted. Well, then stop committing fucking crimes. But anyway, but these figures show that the police are still unfairly targeting black people with degrading and traumatic stop and searches. Again, all they have to do is just stop committing crime. Or if it's honestly that bad, they always talk about how great the continent of Africa is and all, and blah, blah, blah. Then it's like, okay, then just move back to, or you just go to Africa then. You have, you have that right to do so. So it's not like you're being forced to live or being born in the UK at this point. You have that right to go back to your ancestral homeland. Let me see. Responding to the figure, Sussex police said, the use of stop and search powers are a valuable tool for police to help prevent and detect crime. Sussex police regularly scrutinizes stops. Officers who use stop and search powers must have reasonable grounds to do so and ensure they comply with the public sector equality duty to demonstrate to communities how the powers have been used fairly. Let me see. So again, I'm not going to read the article in its entirety because I think it gets the point when it comes to that. Inner city youths, yeah, exactly. So let me see if I can actually post that link for that article in the chat as well. Again, if you want to have a look at it yourselves, you're welcome to do so with that. So I think also what I'll do is after the stream ends tonight, I'll put the links for those for what I've covered tonight. I'll post them in the description as well as like an update sort of thing. So if you missed the show live and want to have a look at the articles yourselves, then I'll post those links for those articles and statistics in the description as well, just in case. So let me see here with that. Now, there was another thing to mention with that as well. We're not entirely finished just yet. We're almost done. And then we'll move on from there. So if we go on to here again. Right. Right, so there we go. There's a screenshot from an article. Children run screaming after event in primary school is crashed by group of youths with knives. I think I couldn't find the article in question. I believe this must have been a article by the Daily Mail, but I couldn't actually find this. So maybe again, I can maybe post it on my Telegram at some point. Already covered that. This one here. This is from Telegram or Ayatollah. 1, second-generation Rwanda who brutally murdered 3 young little girls. 2, second-generation Pakistani man who was trying to blow up a hospital. That actually happened like a couple of years back, if I remember correctly. But anyways, and 3, fictional Netflix series about a white incel. Guess which one is inspiring new laws from the UK government? And of course, you can imagine it will be the third option. Finally, we get to this link here, which is the statistics of homicide in England and Wales. Now, again, this is quite a lengthy thing, but I'm not going to go through it in its entirety because, again, I'll post a link for that in the chat as well because there is definitely a lot to kind of go through with that as well. So there were 570 victims of homicide recorded in year ending March of 2024. So this is fairly recent, this statistic. And I believe this is an official government Office for National Statistics. So this is like government funded, if I remember correctly. So this is like, or I think it's government funded, but again, this is quite actual statistics. And the release date of that, again, fairly recent, 6th of February 2025. So there we go. And this is the latest release. There were 570 victims of homicide recorded in year ending with March of 2024, 3% lower than the previous year, 585 victims, excluding the year March 2021, when volumes of public space violence were suppressed during that event in 2020. This was the lowest number of homicides recorded since the year March of 2016, which was 538. So that type of thing. Number of male victims, 414, was similar to the previous year, 412, while those who were female fell by 10% from 173 to 156. So it does go into trends of homicide. It goes into gender specifically as well. It also goes, so sex, of course. It also goes into age, and it also goes into race or ethnicity as we come up here. Let me see. Almost 2/3, 370 or 65% of homicide victims in year March of 2024 were from the white ethnic group based on the ethnicity identified by the investigation police officer. This compared with 82% of people identified as being in the white ethnic group at the time of the last census of population in England and Wales in 2021. This was an 8% decrease compared with March 2023, 404 victims, and the lowest annual figure since ethnicity data were first collected in March of 1997. There's actually here we go, figure 5. Over a third of Black homicide victims were aged between 16 to 24 years old. Percentage of homicide victims by age and ethnicity. So percentage of homicide victims. So as you can see there, as well with that, the relationship between victims and suspects, adult victims, and all of that. Let's have a look at this. This figure, the most common suspect for female homicide victims aged 16 years and over was a partner or ex-partner, that sort of thing. Yeah, so again, let me see if I can actually get that up here. Is that the same link from the Telegram? Yeah, it is. Right, perfect. All right. So again, not going to go through it in its entirety because there's a lot. But again, if you want to have a look at it yourselves, there's a link in the description as well, just in case. So there we go. So I think to sum it all up with the show Adolescence and why it's a complete anti-white propaganda, I've just showcased that a lot of the knife crime epidemics going throughout the UK, while yes, there are white perpetrators involved, but the vast majority, and also you can make an argument when it comes to the idea of what was it called, per capita, or actually young black males. I mean, I think another case example of that would be places like London that would be rife with stuff like that. Some people have mentioned in the chat places like Birmingham. I think Manchester might be a problem with that as well. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of evidence to showcase that, you know, that show Adolescence is again anti-white propaganda, and it's just not accurate. It's just not accurate whatsoever. It's complete fictionalized, and it's not actually telling you the full truth of what exactly is going on. That sort of thing. So yeah, that's really that in a nutshell when it comes to that show Adolescence. Again, it's just Stephen Graham just acting like a complete cuck and, you know, trying to right the sins of the past or whatever, and try to look out for the minorities that don't actually give a damn about Britain or anything like that at all. So there we go. So that's that. So what we'll do now, folks, I know there was a lot to kind of go over with that, but again, the links, if you want to have a look at yourselves, there are in the chat. As I said, I'll post them in the description. So, or maybe even as well, post them on my Telegram as well to make it a bit easier for people. If people want to have a look at it themselves. But let's move on from there, and we'll move on to the last part of the show, which will be, of course, the Q&A section. So, if you have any questions and answers, or sorry, if you have any questions to ask me, anything at all, you just pop in the question in the chat, just pop in @ChiefMoody and then fire away with your question. Any question, I'll be happy to answer. So please don't feel afraid to ask. So if you want to ask me a question, feel free to ask me just now. And I did say I was going to do the show for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So we'll do it up to about maybe 7:30 and then call it a night. But until then, I'll wait for any questions to come through, and then I'll be happy to answer them. So just also, if I need to have a quick drink of my juice before we move on, so because I have been coughing, but it hasn't actually been as bad as the previous episodes without the drink. But one sec. That's better. There we go. I also don't need to get that up here just now. Perfect. Don't know why the chat moved up there just now. I never actually did that, but all right. While I'm waiting for a question to come through, the link to my PayPal is still up there. If you want to send a donation or two, then you can do so if you so choose to. Don't feel obligated if you have to. The option is there, basically. And if you want to, then it's there, basically. So let's see. From Black Pigeon Pilled, here's a good question. How more destabilized do you think our societies can become? See, if I don't know. I think it's just... It's a really dire situation at the moment, and I mean, well, I think another question I think maybe to ask on top of that is when are people actually going to wake up? I think people are waking up, to be fair, but it's come to the point now where it's just getting way worse at this point. So I'm not sure how more destabilized we can become as a society. I mean, I think it might come to the point where it might go into the what was it called, the Weimar Republic, the Weimar Republic, that was going on in Germany. Before that certain group appeared when it comes to it. So uh, I don't know if it might actually come to that, but at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised if it might happen in the big major metropolitan cities. But maybe it's happening just now, but it's all been kept under wraps. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if it might come to that point in our society where we might start seeing shit like that, what we've seen in the Weimar Republic, or Weimar Republic, however you want to pronounce that. Bob Pitcherbold again. I'm told this system is anti-fragile, but with knife attacks in schools making the news, it feels we'll wake up in Mogadishu for real. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, to be fair though, what happened in Southport last year during the summer, I mean, that was shocking, and a lot of people were rightfully really angry with what happened. Now, of course, I don't think it should have spawned into, setting fire or damaging like private property like mosques, or even say like hotels and all of that. I think that was a bridge too far with it. I think people do have a right to be angry, and of course, as long as they peacefully protest, that's completely fine. But I think the moment when they start damaging private property and all of that, I think that's actually a bridge too far with it when it comes to that. So let me see. Chaz Smash, did you see the video on Rag's channel showing different races that claim universal credit compared to whites? Real eye-opener. I've not seen that. Is that Rags and Jack's Chaz Smash? Because if it is, if it's from the recent stream they did, I don't think I've actually seen that. So I can't exactly comment at the moment, but it would be something I would like to have a look into, and that would be really interesting. So 1 second. If it's actually from that stream, 1 sec. Live. Let me see if I can actually. Oh God, I don't know if they actually took it down, but damn it. I'll probably find it later on and see from there. But no, I've not seen that video. I don't think I've actually seen that stream, to be fair. But I think that was the one where they had sent some communion on the stream. I might be talking the right one, but I'm not sure. A short clip on Rag's channel. I'm not sure. Right, let me see if I can actually find that. 1 sec. Rags as in Ragnar Ironspear. Is that what we're talking about? Because I just want to double check. And if it's a short clip, let me see if I can actually. Again, I don't know if I might actually find it here, but I can always try later on and see from there. And if it's going to be eye-opening, then that would be really interesting. So, not a stream. Yes, right. 1 sec. I'll see if I can quickly find it. And then see from there. No, it doesn't seem to pop up my search results. Again, I'll probably have a look into it later and then see from there. So, but thank you very much, Chaz Smash, for bringing that to my attention. I did not know that. So, yeah, I'll have a look later and see from there. So, anyways, 20 past 7, 10 minutes to go, and then we'll end the show at 7:30. So, any questions that come through? Again, anything at all, I'll be happy to answer it. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Anything at all. While I wait, I'm going to see if I can actually find. Where is it? And of course, I won't play it just yet. Of course, it's basically the outro for the show. as I normally do. Right, so I'll get that up here, but I won't play it. I know it's going to play like instantly because it does that, but right. Pause. Right, back on to here. All right, okay, so we're back. We're back on the stream. Oh no, I hope the connection is not doing bad. Am I still there, chat? I don't know if the connection is going off, but god damn it, this is perfect timing. Not. Any ideas on still here with you? Right, that's fine. I think that internet symbol has went away now, so that's fine. Yeah, sorry, Chat Smash. Any ideas on Chancellor's speech tomorrow? To be honest, I didn't even know there actually was going to be a speech like that happening tomorrow because I've just been busy with other things. But I mean, it's to be honest, it's the same song and dance from those people, those same politicians and all of that. So it's just it's just going to be continued lies and all of that. So it's not going to be that much of a surprise, really, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's. I don't know if that may be much of a good answer, but that's how I genuinely think of it when it comes to that. And like I said, I didn't even know there actually was going to be a Chancellor speech tomorrow until you brought that up. So yeah, that's all I got when it comes to that. So yeah. In fact, do I actually? One sec. I don't think I really need that. Stop screen. Yeah, there we go. So. I was going to say maybe I can give it a watch tomorrow, but then again, I'm at work, so maybe after work, I don't know, but we'll see from there. So, anyways, folks, 7:23, so that's what, 6 minutes to go. 6 minutes to go. Any more questions that come through? Like anything at all? Anything at all? Because if not, I do have the outro song ready to go, just for the show to come to an end. See from there. So, yeah. Oh, there was one thing I also forgot to mention. Let me see if I can actually bring it up on my screen just now. It was actually something I forgot to mention at the start of the show, but if you're based in Scotland and if you're a nationalist, if you want to get involved with activism, or even become a member of Patriotic Alternative Scotland, then contact me through this email address, which is scotland@patrioticalternative.org.uk. That's Scotland@patrioticalternative.org.uk. Alternatively, you can go on to the official PA or Patriotic Alternative website and click on inquiries. I think the right page is, if I'm not mistaken. I always keep getting that mixed up. I just want to double check that because I think it is inquiries, but I will double check that just now. So .org.uk contact. Yeah, so if you go into the official Patriotic Alternative website, you can go on to either contact or regional contacts, and then of course see from there if you want to. So yeah. But yeah, that's if you want to get involved, become a member, or even become an activist for PA, then get in contact with me. If you're based in Scotland, get in contact with me through that email, scotland@patrioticalternative.org.uk, or go onto the PA website and click on contact, either contact or regional contact, and then see from there if you want to get involved. So yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, Chad Smash, because I was actually planning on getting a haircut this past weekend because I was off work. And the problem was, again, there was other stuff that came up. So I'm due to be off again this coming Wednesday. I'm back to work tomorrow, but I think I'm off on Wednesday. Well, fingers crossed anyway. I think I'm off on Wednesday. And I'm planning on getting a haircut then. So that would be... Yeah, I'll definitely get that done because I think nothing should come up, nothing to stop that or anything like that at all. So I'll definitely should be off on Wednesday, I hope. And if I am definitely off on Wednesday, then I'll definitely get a haircut then, because I'm actually just begging for it to be done at this point. Because when I wear my flat cap, right, when I go to work or whatever, I have it on, and like literally, it's like I don't know if you can actually see it because of how dark it is, but hold on. But the back of my hair, so about there and there, if I were to wear my flat cap, it just completely just goes up type of thing. But because of how hairy it is, but yeah, so. No, I don't think a mohawk would work still on me, to be honest, but that's just me. So, but yeah, I'll definitely, if I'm off on Wednesday, I'll definitely get a haircut then, and I'm desperate for a haircut at this point. So, yeah, there's that. I'll give another couple of minutes, and then we'll end the stream if you guys wouldn't mind. As I said, I'm going to end the stream around about 7:30 anyway. So, but yeah, I hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's episode. I might as well just end the show here at this point. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on and watching the stream. I think the max amount of people watching the show was about 17, maybe 18 people that watched, which is not too bad. So, but thank you all very much for coming along. And like I said at the start of the show, I'm going to put this up here on the screen, support Patriotic Alternative. I don't think I'll be back to do a stream this week, either Wednesday or Friday. I'll be back next week on Monday because, like I said, I'm going to be streaming every Monday at 6 p.m. at this point in time. If anything were to change, I'll let you guys know prior to that. And if there will come a point where if I do a stream either Thursday or Friday, I will let you guys know the day before it happens, just so that, again, just to let you guys know that is definitely happening, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, for the time being, it was a lot of stuff to go over, but I hope everyone enjoyed. Again, if you want to have a look into buy Clippers, save a fortune, I might maybe consider that at some point, but we'll see. But thank you very much for bringing that up. James Hayworth. Let's see, Monkey Pushing Wood. Maybe there isn't going to be a clash of ideologies. Maybe the European race falls into minority status, and we are ruled by a benign Muslim Pope, kind of like Roman rule. Well, I hope that wouldn't be the case. But I mean, the way things are going, I don't know with that. But I do hope there's a sense that the British people will. They're waking up now, but hopefully they might wake up even more in the future. But I mean, I don't know. It's only time will tell when it comes to that. So, but I'm trying to be optimistic with that, or try to be hopeful at the very least, and see from there. So, but anyways, so yeah, it's coming up to 7:30. Again, I'm just going to end the stream there just now. So, thank you all very much for watching. I should be back next week on Monday, again, same time and place. Follow me on other platforms like X or Telegram for more updates on the show and all of that. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the show. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, or no, I think we're all good. But anyways, so thank you very much for watching. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I will see you all in the next episode. Take care, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your week when it comes, and see you all in the next one. Thank you all, and good night. Take care.